Hello and welcome to Okube, an organization building open source solutions for data intelligence. Today, we're continuing our series of videos explaining how to build a Databricks Lakehouse using infrastructure as code with Laktory, the all-in-one solution for defining both data transformations and Databricks resources. If Terraform, Databricks Asset Bundles, and DBT had a child, it would probably be called Laktory. In this second episode, we explore how to configure the workspace by creating secrets, directories, notebooks, and compute resources. But before we do, if you want to ramp up your data and AI engineering game, make sure to like and subscribe. Before jumping right in, let's have a look at the big picture. In this architecture diagram, we have all the main components typically found in a Databricks Lakehouse, from users management to pipeline jobs. Before watching this second episode on workspace configuration, make sure to watch previous episodes linked in the description. We start where we left things off after the first episode. If you remember, we created users and groups at the account level that were assigned to the workspace. These groups will be referenced when setting resources permissions. We also created a metastore and catalogs along with associated external locations. We even have a volume allowing access to data on a cloud storage. At this point, the workspace is empty and we don't have any compute resources available except for the starter SQL Warehouse. Let's change that by creating a few resources with Laktory. First, we run the quick start and select the workspace template. As we explore the stack, we see that directories, secret scopes, and a warehouse are created, a standout feature of Laktory. Which sets it apart is its ability to define environment-specific overrides for the main stack. This makes it simple to deploy across multiple workspaces. In this example, we define a variable to store the environment name. Once the configuration is initialized, we deploy our stack using the familiar deploy command. To ensure it targets the development environment, we include the env option, specifying dev as the workspace. Returning to the workspace, we can confirm that all directories have been successfully created and our SQL warehouse is now available. But what about the secrets? Since we can't directly view them from the UI, we'll create a notebook to list them. Before we dive into that, take note of how one of the secrets utilizes the environment-specific variable we defined in the stack. This ensures that the secret value will differ across workspaces, making the deployment adaptable to each environment. While we're at it, let's create a new secret scope to store both the Databricks host and a placeholder token. Since this information is more sensitive, we'll restrict access to only the workspace admins group we set up earlier. Notice how simple it is to assign permissions using Laktory. To validate the creation of the secrets, let's add a notebook to our stack that lists them all. This involves 3 steps. First, create the notebook file itself. Second, set up a YAML file that specifies the notebooks we want to deploy. Once again, we can define permissions directly within the YAML. While all users can view the notebook's content, only Laktory friends have permission to run it. Finally, adding this YAML file to our stack. Let's deploy to see if this notebook is available and usable. It is available. Now we will run it using a serverless cluster. Great! All the secret scopes and keys we defined are available from the workspace. Now, let's take a look at how to upload a DBFS file to the workspace. The process is quite similar to adding a notebook first. Create the file, then add a configuration file that lists all the DBFS files, and finally include that configuration in the stack. You might be wondering, what types of resources are supported by the Laktory stack? The easiest way to find out is by visiting the Laktory website and heading to the API reference section. There, the Stack Resources class on the stack page will list all the currently supported resources. Let's proceed with the deployment of our DBFS file. Success! The file is available from the Workspace. The final configuration of our Workspace will be the addition of an interactive cluster. Once again, we use environment-specific variables to customize our cluster config. With a quick deployment, we can now verify that the cluster has been created in the Workspace with the expected properties. Before returning to our IDE, let's switch over to a second workspace called Prod. This workspace is currently empty and will be the target for our next deployment. For our final demonstration, we'll run the deploy command again, but this time setting the environment to production. Notice that the environment variables storing the host and token have also been updated accordingly. And voila, with the power of Laktory and by following DevOps best practices, we now have two environments with only the necessary differences. No manual tweaking means we have an exact replica between environments. That wraps up our demo on building a Lakehouse as code with Laktory. With secrets in place and compute resources ready, we've established a solid platform for users to work with. Hopefully, you found it straightforward to declare and deploy all the necessary components. In the next episode, we'll dive into building a data pipeline and deploying it as a Databricks job. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you're notified when it goes live. Have you tried configuring a workspace as code before? How was your experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.